finally got something about Dragon Cry that is behind the scenes, as there is a talk between the director of the Fairy Tail Dragon Cry movie alongside with the new site Anime Now. Now, I am going to be reading off the article what they did say, as they did also mention as well that there are going to be some spoilers in this as well, so all that. So if you've been like a non-spoiler looker at the film and all that, then just look at some of the reviews that like people have got out there. Even as well, I try to dance around with a lot of spoilers as well in my video as well, so we can talk about this one is going to be talking about a lot about the spoilers as well about this. And like this seems to be like the director of this seems to be Minami Kari. It seems like to be one of his first few like works and all that. So like when he actually like he didn't just give him like like a rough draft like like a lot of people and all that, where it's just like I just gave like a couple of notes and all that to work with the movie. Hiromashima, as like stated in there, gave him an entire rough draft in manga form, like all of it, like the entire thing. And by the way, this is the stuff that some of us are going to be receiving. Like I've already ordered mine, where I was going to get the movie illustration books, which is all of Hiromashima doing all of his sketches and showing off. So we're going to be seeing the entire rough draft of the movie in there, which is going to be interesting and maybe some changes in there. For Minami Kari, adapting these rough panels into animation was one of the most difficult parts of the job. After all, Minami Kari was already feeling the pressure of being in charge of a new movie for such a beloved property, and since he wasn't the director of any of the other previous Fairy Tail TV animes, it was a completely new experience for him. It's very weird that they got a new guy to work on this one. Personally, I feel like the movie came out fine. I was wondering if they were actually going to bring someone with a little bit more experience to do the movie. And plus, as well, how they always talk about, like, Fairy Tail is definitely, like, popular, but definitely in Japan and all that, I never really see much, like, stuff going on for it and all that. But, like, let's continue on with the article, though. Fairy Tail is a long-running and very popular manga, and I came in as the director for a new film despite having other directors helm the previous anime project. I felt a lack of confidence because I was worrying that the elements of the anime I wasn't used to, like the complexity of many characters, might come off a little bit weird. Not only did he have to deal with the expectations of the fans, but he also had to live up to the legacy of the long-running manga and its author Hiromashima. When I had a meeting with Mashima-sensei, he told me that the story of Fairy Tail has a core theme, and that theme is bonds. Bonds with one's comrades. Whatever happens, that theme cannot fall apart at all, he explains, saying that Mashima told him that the series had a series of specific rules that had to be kept alongside the series, not just in the TV anime or the films, but also in the manga series itself. Mashima told me that he had wanted to keep that in mind while working on Fairy Tail, which is kind of interesting that, like, he's like, no, bonds, like, all friendship, that is the most important thing in the, like, thing. As like, you've got to always realize and all that, no matter what they go through and all that, they need to be there together. Like, so definitely, like, always was, like, a big theme of Fairy Tail, but, like, seeing that it's like, this always needs to be here, no matter what. So you need to show, and I think, like, maybe that what kind of like encouraged more of the lighthearted scenes in the movie, where it was like there was a good chunk of the movie where like there was just them like joking around, like shooting this shit, and I kind of like that. I think that's the kind of thing where you don't get this kind of like cool down time with Fairy Tail. You don't normally get to see that unless it's in a filler arc, or like you see a one little panel to it. And the fact that we got that in a cinematic run where we got some actual funny jokes and like some actual nice little quips between the characters, I kind of like that. Speaking of the females of Fairy Tail, though, Minami Kari told me that a lot of work was put into the transformation scenes of characters like Lucy and Shala. He admitted that while it might have been not necessary, making these kind of sequences so elaborate was partly due to his own personal love of these kind of scenes. So to go more into this scene as well, is the fact that even I was like, what? They kind of went a little bit overboard with these, where they had these very like Sailor Moon-esque like transformations for both Lucy and Shala in the movie. Shala revealing her human form that she has as a seed, and then Lucy as well when she did like what we saw with like Capricorn, like saw those transformations that she did with there. We got to see some of that, which I was like, okay, and it was really different change, and I was like, if they did that for the anime, that would be kind of interesting. I don't know whether or not that, since like they kind of got rid of some of that stuff and all that. Also, you see a big different change from season 1, where they used to have like kind of the symbols around their like techniques and stuff. And you remember Lucy used to do kind of little transformation scenes as well. Same thing with Natsu as well. They used to show that. And maybe he actually kind of want to do something on his own scene. But he's like, I put a lot of effort into these ones because I like these parts and all that. And I definitely like, as he kind of discusses about it, saying like, action scenes take a lot of frames, so it was a lot of hard work. I think we put together the action scenes pretty well in the movie, but if I had the chance, I would have wanted to make the action scenes even longer, he smiled. I would have been happy to have a few more action scenes in there. which I was fine with the action. I feel like the movie had a good blend of action and a good blend of comedy and story. If anything, the one thing I wanted in the movie was maybe a little bit more context with one of the characters, which they actually do talk about in the next part of the article. Another thing he wants fans of the movie to watch out for, even if it takes more than one viewing to know, is that they're put in the twist of a movie. The film features two original characters, Sonia, a gentle-hearted girl who can sense life forces, who serves the kingdom despite having dads, and Animus, the cruel ruler of the Stellar Kingdom. The two are actually connected in a very important way, which is made clear in the near climax of the movie. However, the reveal isn't as sudden as you might think. If you look really close in the scenes leading up to the reveal scene, we actually set up quite a few visual clues to hint at the connection, like this character's shadow is actually that of a different person, and when this character is with the other characters, they don't make any sounds when they walk. If you pay real close attention, you might be able to notice. That stuff is what I actually like. Personally, like, as I was trying to take a lot of it in as a first movie, I was coming into a fan, I want to see that. That's definitely something that you would kind of like get in a second or third watching, where it's like, oh, they actually didn't add this little voice line, or they didn't add like little stuff there. I kind of like that, where it's like, if you were like fully like, you know, you got everything and all that, you had like, you could see everything, you could actually tell from a bit of the while that that's where they were going with it, especially with the stuff with Animus. And definitely, I kind of, like I said as well and all that, I don't mind this whole Animus and Sonia sort of stuff that they're talking about, but I wish there was a lot more time on Sonia. I feel like Sonia was kind of flat for the start of the movie, and then it took her to like the late middle part to like the ending of the movie, where she got a lot more like interesting and a lot more with her character, and even as well with the epilogue of the movie, where you find out a little bit more about her and why like her situation is so in this movie. Fairy Tail Dragon Cry is set to premiere in 16 countries around the world, with more scheduled to be added on that list in the future. Despite the anime's immense popularity outside of Japan, Manami Kawa told me that he didn't really understand the work's popularity until the trailers of the film went live. I found out how amazing the reactions from overseas was only when we uploaded those trailers. It almost didn't feel real. I had locked myself up in the room to work on the film, so I never expected it to get attention from all over the world. He expressed his surprise. It was such a level that I was like, really? Like, now that we've had preview screenings of the film, I can hear the voices of fans even louder by doing a bit of research. So he didn't even really know about like apart from the people like from overseas, he didn't really know too much like, do really people care about this like overseas and shit like that? Do they really care about in English speaking language and all different kind of languages like that? And I feel like he wasn't expecting it. It sounded like he was more making this like where you get sometimes with some movies and like even as well as some episodes and even arcs as well with some series that they can't even be dedicated to like an actual like, you know, oh, this more towards these fans and all that. One of the most interesting thing about like Bleach especially is that like each and every arc and all that actually has a theme of like kind of the country going into it, which I kind of like and all that. With obviously you got Soul Society kind of like being Japan, you have like Hueco, like with what we got seeing on that with like, you know, like Hueco Mundo, sort of Spanish. The Four Rings was supposed to be like in the English arc, and apparently there was a missing arc in there that was supposed to be French, and obviously the last arc being Germany. So I kind of like the fact that there was a lot added into like, you know, with like stuff like that, and I feel like they kind of do things to certain fans, but like how the director was thinking, like, I just did it for the Japanese fans. I didn't really care about those guys until like I realized that like that the preview screens on that. So that was something in there. Having read the manga before helming Dragon Cry, Manami Kawa believes that Fairy Tail's popularity in the West comes from its speedy pacing, something he noticed when he first read the manga. He compared the pacing and panel placement of the manga to that of American comics from Marvel, and suggested that perhaps these factors make it easier for the Western audience to get into the story. The European fantasy flair as a story might also be a factor in the success, he told me. As he talks and all that, with its dragons, buildings, and scenery, Fairy Tail has a very Western European feel to it. Its Japanese going like kimonos do show up, though like the ones that Urza wear. However, I'd say Fairy Tail is a work that mainly uses designs that are outside of Japan. So yeah, a lot of things as well, and I think it clearly hits on the head why I liked like Fairy Tail, where like compared to other series as well, where I feel like it was a lot more easier to get into and all that when I was a lot more younger, but it's like, I felt like the story was always going, it was always going at a nice place, where I've had problems with other series. I think people that heard me before I complained about pacing would say like One Piece, although One Piece is an amazing story and all that. I love that series. I always have problem reading into a week-to-week basis because it's just goddamn so fucking slow sometimes, and I've had that maybe like once or twice when I've read Fairy Tail, when there's been like a couple of chapters like, come on, get the fuck on over with this, and like I've had that while with One Piece I've had that with a lot of the arcs that kind of gone into the new world, mainly when I've been caught up. But even still, that doesn't take too much away from the story. But I feel like that is one of the reasons as well why people are so able to get into this a lot easier than other series, because it's like, oh, it's really picking up, oh, it's happening there, like, which is a curse and a blessing at the same time, because also as well, the fast pacing can mean as well that some fights get rushed and other moments don't have their time to shine. While fans outside of Japan are hyped for their first taste of fairy tale movie in a while, every fan has the same question: is there more anime coming? At the moment, I personally have not heard anything Minami Kara told me. Maybe the higher ups are talking about the possibility. At any rate, there is not a possibility that something might be coming, so you gotta grit your teeth on that. At the moment, I personally have not heard anything Minami Kara told me. Possibly the higher ups are talking about the possibility. At any rate, there isn't not a possibility that something might be coming. But for now, fans can get their claws on the action-packed, and it's coming to theaters all over the world right now. So fuck that. They're teasing. They're like, we could be getting a movie. We don't know. Screw you guys and all that. Like, So yeah, if people don't definitely know and all that. The epilogue of this movie, like the after scene credits, is a very big tease at that. So yeah, clearly I think they want to see how well this movie does. So far and all that, I'm not too sure about how it's going to be doing. I think it did alright over here. We're going to have to wait and see like also as well. It definitely depends on Japan, but I feel like this is a good like testing, as I described this movie in my review as well, that this is Fairy Tail like season 2.5 for the most part, where like it definitely feels a lot like where they want to go with the story, and also as well its canonicity to the story as well. This is, I feel like, a good test. They've done this with movies before. They did this with the Toriko movie. The Toriko movie, like, absolutely failed. I think they tried it with Gintama as well, with the second movie, and it did a lot better. And obviously, the anime came back and was a lot more popular than the Toriko anime series. So, I feel like maybe they might be trying to do this with Fairy Tail, and I think it's kind of, like, a little bit mixed at the moment, since, like, we've had a lot of really good Japanese movies come out recently, and I feel like it's being kind of crushed underneath all that. And plus, as well, Fairy Tail isn't so popular and all that in, like, Japanese and all that. I know that's weird for me to say that, but honestly, when you see it and all that, and I've even had, like, you know, like, confirmation from people that have actually been to Japan, you don't see that much Fairy Tail compared to other series there. So, yeah, that could be something as well to talk about. I think the most people who are going to see Fairy Tail have known about it for as long as I have. The latter half of the film is especially action-packed, so I don't think fans will have a chance to be bored during the movie at all, he told me. I think that had a lot to do with people who love Fairy Tail would be coming to see the movie, but maybe there are some people who have never seen Fairy Tail at all. It's my first time with the property as well, but I think we've really made a fun movie here. So I'd love to see if people would enjoy the first anime work for Fairy Tail we've seen in quite a while. Now, there's something about this, because that's the end of the article, and this is something I can talk about as well as my movie experience as well that I had with this. I actually, when I was watching this movie, there were also a bunch of other people, like, the movie cinema and all that, it was quite a big cinema, and, like, it was about, like, half filled, I'd say, about that. It was decently filled and all that for what I was expecting all that for a Fairy Tail movie, and there were people in the cinema that had actually, like, as I was talking with my friends, and there was a bunch of other people as well that we actually talked to as well before the movie started, and also after as well, and sometimes a bit in there. There are people in there that actually never saw Fairy Tail before. So this was their first time ever seeing that, because, like, all their friends wanted to see it, and it's like, yeah, you maybe should watch this with me and all that. Where they're like, yeah, we saw the SAO movie, so we thought we might catch this as well. And same thing with, like, with the Dragon Balls and stuff like that. And I kind of like that, whereas, like, I saw a lot of people come out of this with, like, a positive experience, and then I feel like I definitely did see, like, 2 people in that movie as well who were saying this didn't win me over seeing a Fairy Tail, but I might give the anime a shot. Like, if anything and all that, everyone's kind of talked about that, and the way how people talk, like, especially in the UK, about Fairy Tail and a lot of the other animes and all that, I kind of feel a little bit happy to say that most of them are kind of, like, in the same agreeance where, like, personally I stand with Fairy Tail, where they love it, but they do know that there are way other better series out there, which, you know, I have no full shame in all that. People know and all that. Some of my favorite series happen to be something like Berserk. I absolutely enjoy that. And the fact where we see this, like, I love, like, Fairy Tail, I really do know that, it always been a special part of my heart, but then even as well, people still were able to get an enjoyment out, even not being fans of this, so I definitely enjoyed it, and I hope, you know, it does well, and it probably, like, a lot more cinemas and all that get, like, second releases. I believe the English dub is going to be coming out later this year for the movie, so definitely that'll probably be the second time I'm going to go and catch and watch it, because I definitely want to go and see it again, and I'm going to try and catch some of the stuff. Overall, the article definitely had some interesting stuff to say about the movie. Not too many, I think definitely the most important thing to come out there was Season 3 talk. Are we getting another season? Talking about the villain, which there were some very interesting things where it's like they actually hinted very early into the movie as well with that, which I actually kind of didn't get a chance to see. I had to see that like with the second movie, kind of watching that. And also as well, like kind of how Hiramashima was kind of talking to Mimnanika, and like how this was a brand new director for the most part. This is one of the first like movies and all that. From when I checked on his Miami list, this is one of the first few things he's like really helmed. So overall, I think he turned out and made a good movie. So I feel like this is like personally the best fairy tale movie that we've had. One of my favorite contents from the series. So I really enjoyed it. So like I want to see what you guys think in the comments down below though. What did you think about it, and what do you think about the article? But that's all of me. Thank you always for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.